Sure. So I'm Dan Martin. I work at MasterCard so I work on the MasterCard Developer Zone, working on bringing APIs to developers that are backed by MasterCard.
Okay. So what is your daily job entail?
So my background is actually I'm a software developer and have been my entire career, and actually started on this product as a software developer, and over the past several years have moved completely to the product side, meaning I'm now working business, and spending my days doing no coding. Uh, so my daily these days is dealing with budgets and things like that. But my primary focus in what I'm doing is developer experience. So my primary task is acting as somebody who's a passionate software developer who has used developer tools all my life. My job is to bring that experience to MasterCard Developer Zone to try to make it as user friendly for developers, right?
Yeah, which is a funny mix. Yeah.
Right. It's totally different than user experience. It's developer experience, and that it's a different beast, and that's what I'm focused on.
Okay, gotcha. So through this, it shouldn't last too long, but I'll ask you. I'll try to get some information on the APIs that you are actually developing. If there's any ones that you want to mention specifically, that'd be great. And also start linking to any APIs that you'd like me to share with the chat. So with that, what is actually what is your goal here? Like, what you're creating these. You created these MasterCard APIs and you introduced them in this hackathon, or they've been around for a while, but you're kind of pushing out kind of developer knowledge, or just creating a user base around them with these hackathons, or?
Well, if we go back, so the way that we started this program 5 years ago. At that time, we had 4 APIs.
Okay.
Now we have, if you go into the public ones, there's over 20, and if you were to dig into the private ones we had, there's actually over 30. So,
okay.
So we've grown and grown and grown and grown. The purpose of MasterCard's Masters of Code, competition, which is what we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we ought to introduce that, since people listening to us, do they even know that?
I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but
Okay.
They're intermittently, coming out and coming back in. So I don't know who has seen this, but yeah, we can introduce that as well. Actually, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. So Masters of Code is our global hackathon series, and it's 12 locations all over the world. You can find out what those locations are at mastersofcode.com/events. And we've already done many locations like Sydney, Australia, and Hong Kong, Singapore, Tel Aviv, all these different locations. And, so there's a lot of goals we have, but part of it is introducing developers to our products, right? And making, getting awareness. But, I think the values for MasterCard in particular is we're, striving to be a part of the, entrepreneur world going on for developers, and we, if we can provide building blocks to developers that they can build the next, Uber, the next Airbnb, that's obviously good for MasterCard, but, good for the developer as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the way this competition works is, and we've done this in the past, in previous years, is that ultimately, there's prizes that developers can win, but one of the big things developers win is entrance into our Start Path program, which is really a program designed for, incubate startups, right? And we provide a lot of resources, consulting, introduce them to our connections as they need it, and so forth and so on, to try to make, give a very early stage startup the kind of the toe in the door that they need.
Startup thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's part of it. Part of it is simply marketing. Every time, I mean, as a developer, it's hard to realize, but when you run a competition like this in a venue like Mexico City, for instance, it's great PR, great press, great marketing.
Yep.
Um, so it's the power of the developer. I think in 2015 that you can do things like that. If you think about it, just 6-7 years ago, the iPhone got invented, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And
before then, people were not out courting developers, trying to get them to come to these competitions and things like that. And that's how that's changed today, where the average person in the world may not know what a software developer really does, but they understand the power of apps, right?
Yeah.
And they know developers are behind that power. So, it results in actually a lot of positive marketing opportunities that you get out of events like this.
Yeah. So I mean that's great, and also I mean specifically with this type of event, I like the fact that because I'd never heard of the the MasterCard or at least the open APIs that you guys offer. I'd never even tried to use them. I've used kind of pre-baked payment solutions or built my own with the PayPal API, which I love you guys PayPal, but your API is terrible. And this one has actually been a pleasant experience so far, and it's nice that there's a lot of developers here. Even the developer that I'm working with on my team. He'd never messed with any APIs like this, and we're actually getting to experience these things and look into them. And even if we don't get access to your, accelerator or pre-accelerator, then we're walking away with APIs that will understanding of APIs that we'll probably use in our career later. So it's just it's a really powerful place to be just in hackathons in general, especially ones that are. Kind of backed by companies that are producing APIs that are going to be used in production for thousands of companies. So I mean, that's really great. If you had any one of the APIs that you wanted to talk about, like what would be the one that you wanted to gush about the most? Like one of the 20 that you offer openly.
Wow. So if you go out there, one of the featured API actually at this Hackathon is Simplify Commerce, which is very, very simple to use, simple to sign up and get running, way to accept credit cards within an app, within a website, flat rate, so you know what your each transaction is going to cost you and everything like that. So it's really simple to use, especially in a hackathon setting. It's something they can get up and developer can get up and running really quick.
Yep.
We've got APIs. I'll just kind of summarize. We've got APIs that help with preventing fraud. We have APIs that allow you to take money and send it from one card to another card, so you can create your own private person-to-person network if you want. And if you go out and look, like I said, there's dozens of APIs that we have out on our developer.mastercard.com website.
Yeah, actually, let's post that up. I was going to ask you for links as well.
Yeah, just developer.mastercard.com. That's the simplest one.
Okay, and also any links that you give me here, I'll go back and I will put them in the description of the chat. The Simplify Commerce you said.
Yeah, so that link would be simplify.com. So most of our APIs live on the developer website. In fact, the developer website links to Simplify, but Simplify is its own standalone.
Oh, you guys kind of went all the way with that. So you're pushing this. Actually, rather, how long has Simplify Commerce been around?
Simplify's been around, I think, about 3 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting that I hadn't heard of it yet, but I have seen people using it, and people seem to like it a lot here so far. The ones that I've talked to and interviewed so far. I'll have to actually dig into it and check it out. Sadly, I'm a front-end engineer mostly.
That's the beauty, I think, of Simplify. Simplify is literally you drop some JavaScript into a page. It's almost all front-end.
Oh, okay.
One of the beauties of it is it basically on the front end, it runs all client-side. It goes out to Simplify and gets a token. And that's what you use to actually process the payment as a token. So you're not have to deal with PCI, which for people that have never dealt with it, is a big hurdle to overcome, right? And so it really makes it easy, even for a front end. But if you actually look, one thing that they have within Simplify is a feature called hosted payments. What hosted payments is a few lines of JavaScript you drop in and you're done.
Wow. Okay.
You don't even need a back end. You can do the entire payment. You tell it what your key is, which is just a string. You tell it how much money you want to charge, and if somebody browses your website and uses that form, you get paid.
Really? So, okay. And just out of curiosity, do you have the ability to transfer money with that as well, or is it just for commerce?
Yeah. So that product, Simplify Commerce, is meant for somebody who has a card paying a merchant, what we would refer to as a merchant, which is somebody selling something.
Yep.
For if you want to transfer money from A to B, that would be money sending.
Gotcha. Okay. And then just I guess this is kind of anchored towards what my team would be building. Kind of just as a question. So if you had the merchant, so let's say you had a mobile app that would be able to accept cash, so you're making a point of sale system. Could you make that available to multiple people? So you can have an army of POS clients?
So we do offer a tool called the UI SDK, which would be for building, an app that interacts with the point of sale. But we don't really have APIs that are meant to build the point of sale. The only exception to that is that Simplify does offer a mobile. Hi again. That does offer a mobile reader type of.
The MaxStripe type.
I'll just say it like Square, right?
It's
a lot like Square. They also offer that because they're Simplify is bringing in merchants and that's a tool that merchants need as well.
Yeah, and you kind of want your name on it as well. I mean, because presumably any MaxStripe reader will work with any POS application. I would assume at least because it's the same tech. Maybe it's actually like taking the analog data differently and like processing it differently. But regardless of that, that's way off topic. That was more me being devil's advocate for my own gain at the end. But I guess the last kind of big question that I have is there's a lot of people that are in our chat that aren't that aren't professional engineers yet or trying to be. That's really why they're watching this, trying to figure out how hackathons work because maybe it'll give them an insight how day-to-day coding life would be. So what kind of tip would you give to any beginning developer? And then if you guys are hiring for any positions that like you're really struggling to hire for, maybe you can say that as well over here.
Yeah, wow. So I the only thing I want to be careful about is I've been in the industry for quite a while, and when I actually came into the industry at a time when if you could spell internet, you could get a job. So it was a different time.
Yeah.
So I want to be careful not to give advice, but I will say that I think people that are in software development that are coming into a career at this point are, what an awesome time to do that, right?
Yeah.
Like when I first started, your only option, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, but I think options are good. Your only option was a big company, right? Because that's where software development was expensive. That's where it got done. And now you just have so many options, and as I was referring to earlier, the mobile, the ability to distribute software. When I came out, the way you distributed software was you put it in a box and you put it on a shelf at a place called Babbage's, and people would come and they would pay a bunch of money for it. You don't reach many people. Now you can build an app, get it out on an app store, and reach millions of people. What better time is it to be a software developer? Just an amazing time, I think. So, even though I think the barrier to entry is more than when I came into the industry for sure.
Yeah.
you do need skills today to get a job, but boy, it is a great time to be one of those people. I think
absolutely. How's it going, Matt, web dev? One of the things that actually I would like to kind of interject there is I know at least when I'm doing when I'm interviewing people or I'm actually like hiring for a position, a lot of the time, unless the skill is severely lacking, if you can see that somebody's actually studied and like worked on the language that they're working towards, or at least the type of project that they're trying to get hired for. If they aren't there yet, but they show that they're actually able to absorb the material and are not stubborn or really too proud about it, then I've at least brought them in for another interview where it would be less so if I found somebody that was closer to the skill level that I wanted for the position, but was an asshole. So sorry for cursing on the live stream, but like if they were super stubborn and just you could tell, you can almost see it. You can see when somebody's not willing to learn. They think they've hit their stride or something like that. So I think that's really important as well. And I think that's especially in the Bay, where a lot of it is about a lot of getting into a company is a mixture of skill and also personality. That's a really important thing to mention. That if you have the will to learn, that's going to help you get a job as well, because people can see that, especially like interviewing.
I think being willing to learn, or not just willing but capable, is a hugely important thing, and something. When I hire, I'm more interested in somebody who's not only learning and willing to learn and willing to be flexible, and not saying, well, I'm a Python guy, I'll only ever do Python, right? But I think that as a software developer, I like to see that. One thing I also like to see, and this isn't fair, but I like to see people who software is not a 9-to-5 thing. I like to see people who on nights and weekends are contributing to GitHub projects and things like that, because I can tell you personally, 9-to-5, I do what needs to get done. It's after hours that I learn. Right, and for me in my career, the reason I have a very large skill set is from stuff I did outside of work.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. I've been programming since I was like 10 years old. I started with C++, and I didn't know that anything existed. I didn't even know that forums existed until 3 or 4 years later. I was just sitting on actually like 1 or 2 books, but like now it's actually lost my train of thought for a second there. But the way that you actually work on things outside of work is really important. You can see that in the fact that in a lot of the big companies, especially, no offense to fintech companies, a lot of fintech companies that I've worked for in the past, you can go through the employees' GitHub profiles, and a lot of them are empty. But then you can actually just see it before you even look at this person's GitHub profile. You can tell the people that are actually like hauling ass at home, because they're the people that are like kickstarting these massive apps or massive movements inside of companies, and it's really good. And I've seen a bunch of it here. There was a gentleman that walked through, and I interviewed him. He had actually been he was on like a 500 or 600 day commit streak, which is crazy. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I mean, I've never had a commit streak longer than 7 or 8 days. Nice. So yeah, it was great, and that's the kind of people that. At least I like to work with people that are passionate about coding, regardless. But I don't want to take too much of your time, and I need to get some sleep as well. I'm starting to lose my train of thought regularly. Actually, before I let you go, do you have any other URLs that you'd like me to post up?
Well, you did talk about jobs. MasterCard puts all its jobs on LinkedIn, so just go search. Okay. Well, search. I think it's linkedin.com/MasterCard, but just search LinkedIn. For MasterCard, and you'll find all the jobs we post, and we have jobs all over the world. So that's and we are always looking for engineers. I mean, and that is never going to stop trying to hire more engineers, really, because I mean, that's one of the things I'd say about MasterCard that most people don't realize. We're not really a credit card company. People think, oh, you're a credit card company. We don't issue credit cards. We build the technology behind the credit card network, right?
Mhm.
So we are a technology company. Everything we do is technology.
Yeah.
So always looking for technical talent, and always have a lot of openings for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I will make sure that I spread this out. I'm going to. I'll find your actual LinkedIn profile. I'll get your guys' Twitter account. I'll put that all in the description here, and then this will be posted to YouTube. I'll try to make sure that I edit out my sleeping moments a little bit. So I apologize for that. But yeah, if you want to introduce yourself one more time, just for the end of the chat, that'd be awesome.
Yep, I'm Dan Martin. My Twitter is @bithooked.
Oh, sorry.
Bithooked. And the MasterCard, there's also at MasterCard Dev. That's the developer zone Twitter
Okay.
account.
Yeah, I'll share that as well. For some reason, whenever you do an @ symbol inside of this chat, it likes to just, if you don't mention someone in the chat, it'll just bring a random person's name in.
Nice.
It makes no sense. But yeah, I really appreciate it. And hopefully, after I get some sleep, we can run through this again. I know I'm re-interviewing a couple people, and I'll try to get the Twitter interview in tomorrow as well. And maybe I can steal either you or one of your engineers' time, because I'm assuming you're a busy guy. But to actually run through one of the APIs, and we just give a quick overview.
Awesome.
Yeah, I would really appreciate it. But thank you so much. It was very nice to meet you. And I hope all of you guys like this. I'm not sure how many of you guys are even watching this late at night, but thank you very much.
Night, everybody.
Bye. Yeah, wow. That was